because I think that we tend to talk about the generational divide and the needs of young people as this big kind of sticky problem that leadership have to deal with, right? And it is. But actually, I also think it's like, and let's flip that and make it an opportunity, right? Because you can, if you can create, or you can call it a listening mechanism or connection or just basic kind of communication between, call it reverse mentoring, call it what you like, but if you can create in your organization in whatever shape, whether you're a hotel or an 8,000 person company or like in my context, right, 150 people, an environment in which the leaders have the capacity to connect directly with the kind of incoming generation, learn from them, mentor them, receive a kind of reverse mentoring. I've seen that turn into an incredibly powerful lever for leadership learning, development of the younger people, loyalty and retention, right? And I do think it's an opportunity. And in my previous organisation, and I'm 3 months into my new role, so I haven't sprung this on them yet, but I'm going to. In my previous organisation, I joined my previous company when it was only kind of 30, 40 people. We're about to do a scale up to kind of over 100, and we actually went to 180, and then went back down again a little bit. But at that point in time, the business challenge was, how are we going to bake in the startup culture as we scale? That was kind of the business challenge. And one of the major kind of challenges that we saw there was, well, actually, we're going to suddenly introduce hierarchical layers. We're going to introduce managers and managers of managers, and the leadership team is going to get more remote, right? How are we going to prevent that? And so what we did in that instance is and created this thing called a shadow board, which is very simple. It was 6 people at the junior end of the organisation who formed a little mini junior leadership team and formed a direct relationship with the actual leadership team, interacted once a month formally, 50% of the agenda of the work that group did being set by themselves and 50% being set by the leadership team. Now, that group, I learned a lot about how to successfully manage a group like that, but with our hybrid working policy in that instance, I came up with draft 1 and I handed it to my amazing shadow board, none of whom were over the age of 24, none of whom had got more than 2 years working experience, handed it to them, said, go out, consult, and come back to me with what you would propose. And what was amazing is that they actually came back with, they came back to me with detailed practical issues that I hadn't noticed, that none of the leadership team had noticed, because we're not doing the work like they are. And they also, as a junior group of people, had to think through the real business challenges of this. They didn't come back to me with something which was wildly unimplementable, right? They came back having actually considered, well, actually in practice, that's not going to work, is it? Because that's going to cost, they didn't come back and say, well, we'll all come into the office if you pay our train fares. They thought through that and then rejected it themselves before bringing it back to me, So and that's an example. And lots of other things that this shadow board did, but the principle being, we wanted to create a connection between junior and senior, and you're talking about an age gap of anywhere between 25 and 30 years between the groups of people here, right? And we set reverse mentoring relationships in place between the members of the groups, and it was in that context, I was able to kind of put that in place preventatively before the problem seeped into the organisation. But it was powerful.